The fastest way to lose confidence. Stop showing up. Welcome to Elevate With Enbody. I'm your host, Tim Enbody. This show hits personal for a couple people, for my mortgage loan officers and my real estate professionals who want to take ownership, that they're done with the excuses. If you're a loan officer and you're watching this, or a realtor and watch this, and you guys are like, but my excuses make me feel safe, you're not going to like this episode because I'm going to call you out. Not by name though, because I love you all. Today, we're going to confront something. Most professionals simply misunderstand this. Failure, that key word, failure. Let's clear it up immediately. Failure isn't killing you. What book have you read that talks about failure and says something bad? Failure is good. Avoidance is failure to data, right? So avoidance is failure is data. Does that make sense? Avoidance is the decay. There's a difference. So failure teaches. It's the best teacher in the world. Actually, it's better than success. But avoidance, that erodes fast. When you fail, you adjust. When you avoid, you shrink. And shrinking doesn't happen dramatically. It's slowly. It's quietly. You stop posting. You stop prospecting. You stop asking. You stop stretching. And over time, you lose confidence. Not because you failed. You might have called it that, but it's because you stop showing up. Confidence doesn't disappear after failure, people. It disappears after the absence. You make a bad call. You learn from it. You post something that flops. Believe me, okay? You refine it. You lose a deal. That happens. We're dealing with people. People are sometimes, they're crazy. They don't know sometimes. They don't know what they want. Sometimes some people come into, buying a house and they act like they're applying for a credit card, right? You can't control that. Guess what you can do? You can improve your process. That's data. That's growth. But when you call and you avoid the call, or you avoid the post, you avoid the conversation. I actually had a loan officer tell me this. He said calling a realtor and giving that realtor bad news was like telling somebody they got diagnosed with cancer. And I'm like, whoa, what? He's like, I feel ill. I feel ill. And like I failed myself and I failed them. That's the kind of pressure we put on each other, by the way, sometimes. And that's ridiculous, people. Stop. We need to be connected. Red Rover, send somebody else over and good luck getting through the line. You send yourself a different message when that happens. You say, I can't handle this. I can't. The message, it compounds. You feel the desperation in my voice. Guys, this is saddening. The professionals who win aren't the ones that avoid failure head on. They're the ones who take it and they metabolize it. They extract the lesson. They refine the approach. They go, all right, you got me. I mean, you ever play baseball or softball? You struck me out. People go and they kind of the bat just drags as they walk back to the dugout, like they just peed in somebody's Cheerios. And then you have the batter goes, oh, you got me. That was a good pitch. I'll get you next time. Miguel Cabrera was one of my favorites. He always had this smile on his face, like, all right, you got me. He'd actually point out the pitcher sometimes, get me on. He's like, oh, he'd laugh. He was having fun. You have to find the things in this business that bring you joy, because failure is tough. I'm not saying it's not hard. Being told no for a living, I made this analogy the other day. It's like asking my wife on a first date. You think she said yes first? No, I married up. It took a lot of convincing. If I took no, yes, did I have to tie her up and throw in my trunk and take her out to a cabin and hold her there for a few years? Sure. I call that marketing. But that being said, you just do it again and again and again, because failure doesn't define you. Avoidance does, though. And let's get even more practical. Notice how heavy it feels when you're avoiding something. It's amazing. Have you ever heard that? So here's my phone. I remember just being told, this is almost 25 years ago. The guy walks in, sits behind my desk. There's a computer, piece of paper, pen, script, and a phone. It's this black box. Remember when those had the cords and everything? Anyways, he goes, that box will be either a Mercedes Benz for you, or it'll be the best paperweight you've ever had. He goes, your avoidance to pick it up is all on you. You want to make enough money to buy dinner Friday night, or do you want to make enough money to be able to take your family on a vacation and buy a beautiful car, wherever you want? That phone is the key. So a call that you haven't returned, a lead that you haven't followed up with, a piece of content you keep delaying to do. That wait isn't failure. It's resistance. And resistance grows when you feed it. We've talked about this in the past as well. The moment that you take action, though, even imperfect action, that weight it drops. Not because you succeeded, because you moved. And momentum, we've talked about it can be rented, but momentum allows you to rebuild some confidence, even though it's short-lived. Avoidance dismantles it. So why avoid? Failure is temporary, but avoidance becomes your identity. And your identity is powerful. If you identify as someone who hesitates, who delays, who retreats, when things feel uncomfortable, that becomes your operating system. Do you want to work with that person? I sure as heck don't. But if you identify as someone who shows up even after a bad day, that interest compounds. In mortgage and real estate, repetition is everything. Would you agree? Repetition guarantees failure, but it also guarantees improvement. I can't guarantee you're going to make $1 million as a mortgage loan officer or a realtor because sometimes people just suck. Okay. But when you put in the reps, you're going to learn. If you can take a lesson and you can put it back into knowledge and practice and then go back, then that failing doesn't have to be permanent to allow you to get closer to more successes. All of a sudden now the stretching makes sense, right? You're getting ready for a run. Because if you're not expanding, you're decaying. We talked about this. So here's your move. When you feel resistance this week, don't put it off. Nice try. This week, I want you to move toward it. Your instinct might be to back away. It might be to make up an excuse. I'd love to go out with you this weekend, but I have to wash my hair. I'm babysitting. We've had them all, right? I grew up getting the excuses all the time. Instead, I want you to make an excuse like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make the call. I'm going to post that content. I'm going to have the conversation that I had been kind of avoiding. Let it be imperfect. Procrastination is not your friend, but if failure's what's killing you, failure, avoidance isn't. And the fastest way to rebuild that confidence is to keep showing up and showing out. Until next time, keep elevating your business and your brand.